This is Seven's Afternoon News, live and local across Queensland.
Hello and welcome to Seven's Afternoon News. I'm Max Futcher. The top stories this Wednesday: growing anger over the downgrading of Gerard Baden-Clay's murder conviction. The high-profile Australians condemning the court's ruling. Shots fired and a police car rammed as thieves lead officers on a wild chase in Toowoomba. And calls for Clive Palmer to use his own money to bail out his troubled nickel refinery as hundreds of workers still wonder whether they'll have a job this Christmas. But first, a Toowoomba police officer has fired his gun after allegedly being run down by a stolen car during a wild chase. Reporter Katrina Blowers joins us now live from the newsroom. Katrina, how did these events unfold? All right, thanks, Katrina. There's growing community anger over the Court of Appeal's decision to downgrade Gerard Baden-Clay's murder conviction. The 45-year-old will be resentenced next year on the lesser charge of manslaughter. Domestic violence campaigner Rosie Batty says she's gutted. More now from Kim Scubris in Brisbane. Kim Scubris reporting there. Queensland Treasurer Curtis Pitt says millionaire miner Clive Palmer should use some of his own money to bail out his troubled nickel refinery in Townsville. State political reporter Patrick Condren joins us live from State Parliament. Patrick, the government has decided to take a tough line with Mr Palmer.
Now, Grace, the newly anointed Employment Minister, was also at that media event at Hurston this morning. She indicated that the state government had plans in place should the worst case scenario come about for the 800 workers up there in Townsville just before Christmas, with some rapid response teams to go up there and help sort out their benefits, etc. But that's only in a worst case scenario. Mr Palmer, the refinery up there anyway, continues to be in hot water, with a magistrate today ruling that it should stand trial for some breaches of some environmental laws after some of its sludge ponds overflowed. So these things come in threes. I wonder what the next thing will be for the troubled plant up there in Townsville.
Yes, you have to wonder. Thanks to Patrick Condren there at State Parliament. The 26-year-old woman has died at Sunnybank when she was hit by a car on busy Mains Road. The woman was crossing the road at traffic lights. Witnesses say she had a green walk signal. Brisbane music fans rolled out the red carpet again last night, this time for one of the world's most enduring rock stars, Sir Elton John. The 68-year-old did not disappoint, opening with a classic from the 1973 album Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. The current tour is Elton's 15th of Australia. Let's check today's weather now, and meteorologist Tony Auden. Tony, which areas have been hottest today?
Well, Max, as usual, inland spots felt the worst of the heat today, with temperatures pushing up to around 3 degrees above the December average. We saw some patchy cloud moving in, but it did little to cool conditions down at all. Ipswich and Logan reached 33 degrees, with Caboolture not too far behind on 32. Along with the heat, storms are building over inland Queensland today. They're all linked in with the trough system across the west of the state. It runs from the far southern border up to the northwest near Mount Isa. There hasn't been too much rain recorded just yet, with Thargomindah posting 1.8 millimetres. Though a few spots should see at least something later today. We're looking at storm activity reaching the southeast tomorrow. Max, I'll be back soon with the details.
Thanks, Tony. We'll see you then. Still to come in Queensland's afternoon news, an update on the hapless army officer who went on a training run at Rochedale with a fake gun. And the band at the centre of the Paris attacks makes a touching return to the stage. A soldier who caused a gun scare during a training exercise has faced court. Nicholas Latham was running in Rochedale South last week carrying a metal pole. Residents thought it was a gun and called 000. He faced Holland Park Magistrates Court this morning on one count of public nuisance. Latham hasn't decided if he'll fight the charge and will return to court in February. An Australian man is believed to have been killed in Yemen after fighting in the Middle Eastern country's civil war. Local media reports he was employed by the United Arab Emirates to lead a group of 6 Colombian fighters in the conflict. It's believed they were all killed during clashes which broke out in the country's Taiz province. The Eagles of Death Metal band have made an emotional return to Paris, less than a month after terrorists killed 89 people at their gig. U2 welcomed the band on stage at their concert for an emotional performance in honour of the victims of the Paris attacks.
They were robbed of their stage 3 weeks ago, and we would like to offer them ours tonight.
The band also visited the site of the attacks, laying flowers at a memorial. Still to come, a cultural facelift for Surfers Paradise ahead of the Gold Coast Commonwealth Games. And we unveiled the sexiest Rolls-Royce ever built.
This is 7's Afternoon News, live and local across Queensland.
Thanks for joining us. In today's top stories, police in Toowoomba have captured a man on the run after a dramatic confrontation, ending with a stolen car smashed in half by a bus on the highway. Earlier, a police officer fired his gun at the car after it failed to stop for a routine check. Domestic violence campaigner and Australian of the Year Rosie Batty says she's gutted that Jared Baden-Clay's murder charge has been reduced to manslaughter. Floral tributes of growing for an 11-year-old girl found dead in her unit at Auchenflower yesterday. Her mother was also found dead at a nearby construction site. The uncertainty continues for hundreds of workers in Townsville who fear they'll be sacked if Clive Palmer puts his cash-strapped nickel refinery into administration. Amanda Abate has more from Yabulu. Australia's biggest names in film and television are gathering in Sydney for this year's ACTA Awards. Kate Blanchett will receive a special honour at tonight's star-studded event. Adine Cassidy is there. Adine Cassidy reporting from the red carpet. Now let's take a look at the share market. Here's Tom Petrovsky from ComSec. We'll check the day's sport next in Queensland's Afternoon News. Also, the baby born on a busy motorway. Why little Evie made such a dramatic entrance. And what's the secret of their success? We meet the Aussie couple celebrating 73 years of marriage. A newborn baby girl has made a grand entrance into the world when she was born on the side of a busy Sydney motorway. Her mum was on the way to the hospital, but little Evie wasn't going to wait. Jessica Dietrich has the story. OK, let's have a quick look at today's sport. Here's Pat.
Thanks, Max. Hello, everyone. Several media outlets are this afternoon reporting that Paul Green has been offered the Queensland State of Origin coaching job. Thanks, Ashley. That's all in sport. I'll have more tonight at 6 o'clock on the comings and goings of this Origin coach. It's a long saga.
Do worse than Paul Green, couldn't you?
I think so. He's a very, very good coach.
Good on you, mate. Thank you. All right, at 96 and 93, Victor and Muriel Wolfe are celebrating their 73rd wedding anniversary. The couple met during the war and today they shared their secret to a lasting marriage.
We've had a trial marriage now and we've decided to stay together.
Fantastic. Now, we want to know what you think. What's your secret to a happy marriage? Michelle Creer's been married for 22 years. She says the best thing is communication. David Waugh says be quick to forgive each other and you can have your say on today's Talking Point. Head to our 7 News Queensland Facebook page. Weather with Tony is just ahead, and in 7's Afternoon News, also SeaWorld welcomes some new happy feet to its penguin family. And you'd better watch out, meet Canada's new version of Santa, and he's turning heads.
Good afternoon. You're watching 7 News. Checking the weather now, and storms are bubbling away near and ahead of a trough across parts of New South Wales into Western Queensland and across northern Australia today. Otherwise, a high pressure system out in the Tasman Sea is pushing humid north to northeast winds onto the southern Queensland coast, keeping conditions quite hot and muggy. Moving on to the forecast chart, the inland trough should move slowly to the east with plenty more storm activity ahead of it, again mostly through northern New South Wales, but also pushing up into southern Queensland. So around the nation tomorrow, Perth and Adelaide are locked together with dry tops of 28 degrees, a cooler 24 in Melbourne. In Queensland, the stormy weather should continue around the northwest of the state, a top of 38 degrees in Mount Isa, the odd brief shower for Weipa and Cairns, and a mostly sunny top of 31 degrees in Mackay. Heading south, Longreach, Roma, Toowoomba and also Gympie could see a storm in the afternoon, remaining dry further north along the coast, 35 degrees in Rockhampton. In the southeast, another hot start to the day before storms take off inland in the afternoon. The odds sell even some late thundery rain could reach the coast, tops of 31 degrees for Brisbane and also on both coasts. A Friday could also bring another storm, but a big jump in temperatures. Max, I'll have the details coming up at 6 p.m.
Thanks, Tony. We'll see you then. SeaWorld is welcoming 3 new additions to its penguin family after one of its most successful breeding seasons. Today, Eamon Atkinson stepped into their icy enclosure. Taking a look at the 6 o'clock bulletin now, Rod Young joins me. Rod, has the Attorney-General made a decision on this appeal over the Baden-Clay case?
Well, a lot of people are wanting that, but not so far, Max. But pressure certainly is mounting for a new legal challenge after Gerard Baden-Clay's murder conviction was downgraded to manslaughter. Also tonight, what anti-domestic violence campaigner Rosie Batty thinks of the court's decision.
And also on the road of tragedy down south of Brisbane with a pedestrian.
Yes, indeed. Sadly, Max, a woman was killed while crossing the road at Sunnybank this morning. It's believed she had a green light but was still hit by a vehicle. So we'll examine how that could happen tonight at 6.
All right, Rod Young, thank you very much for that, mate. We'll see you then. Now let's check in on social media this afternoon. Time magazine is causing a stir online with ISIS leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi named as its amongst its persons of the year. And you can join the conversation too. Follow 7 News Queensland on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Thanks for watching 7's Afternoon News, live and local across Queensland. Stay with us now for The Chase Australia and join Rod and Kay in 7 News tonight at 6.